And welcome to the Foreign Correspondents Club of Japan. I'm Bradley Martin. Uh, been a member here for a few years, and in fact, I served under our chief here, our author, on the membership committee not very long ago. And it's a pleasure to have you all here. And you can see this magnificent volume before you. The author has ordered a pen, so he will be ready after the presentation to sign your copies. And if you don't have one, you can go out to the front desk, and they have them there. You can have this is a 2-volume work, and the volume that's new is separate from the volume that's old. So you can buy either the new volume alone, or you can buy the 2-volume work. And that's 2,500 yen, including tax, for the newer volume, or 4,500 yen, including tax, for the whole shebang. Now, this is a very distinguished guest speaker we have tonight, member speaker, one of our most distinguished members from a long time ago. And we are very proud to be part of this. If you look around, you'll see that he even has some students here. Any students want to raise your arms and say, I'm a student or former student? Okay. Anyway, he does have a pen, so if you don't have a volume yet, you can get one, and that will be taken care of at the front desk. Okay. Our distinguished author started his career working for the United Nations in Dhaka, and I told him that sounded like a good job. He was the information officer there, and he said, well, it was a good job, but he said it was boring, and that's something you don't have to say about his book, which is not boring at all. I read it, and I recommend it to all of you. So anyway, he did that. He was working for the BBC early in his career. He ended up in London getting a degree at the School of Oriental and African Studies. I believe that's SOAS, right?
Yeah, SOAS.
Yeah. And then he ended up in Japan in the 90s, which is when I first met him, to my great pleasure. And he was working for Bangladesh newspaper Prothom Alo for the United News of Bangladesh, which is a wire service. And he also did some moonlighting at NHK World. I know about this moonlighting because I work for an Asian newspaper also based in Bangkok, and I get a Thailand salary, so I know about moonlighting. Anyway, it encourages you to do all sorts of interesting things, like teach, which he did. Okay. Anyway, he got a health warning some years back, and stepped up his production of books, of which the total now is more than a dozen. So let's hear it for the doctors. Let's have some more health warnings, so people will write more books, right? By the way, there's great art in this book, which you were admiring on the wall over there. Or if you haven't, you can go over and do it. I would like to point out what really grabs me about this book is that the author, when he was a young fellow, only 19 years old, basically confronted a choice. And the choice was, I can stay behind in school, make good marks, pass the examination with flying colors, and be guaranteed a good career in government service, or I can go off and do whatever I can do for the freedom fighting in favor of my country. Now, this was because of a split, of course, that most of you know about between what was then called Pakistan, and included what's now called Bangladesh, and that didn't work out. That was not a happy marriage. And I hope that, and the author is agreeable to this, I hope that in the course of the evening, some of your questions will get to some of those comparisons. It's interesting to me. I come from the American South, which is where Christian nationalism is now the big thing. It's sort of the Pakistan or Afghanistan of the United States. And I can understand how the people in modern day Bangladesh would not have fit with that. So I hope we can get into some of that as the evening progresses. All right. Oh, I forgot to mention that our author was the president of this club, 2009 to 2010. So that makes him a life member, and I hope that we'll be seeing him for a long life. So I think we will start now with his presentation, and then we will have a Q&A after that. So, Monzurul Huq.
Yes. Thank you, Brad. Thank you very much. Bradley Martin is a very old friend of mine. I remember first time meeting him, that it was 1999 or somewhere else. We had a press tour. I was still not a member of the club, and we went to Nara. It was a scientific matter, something they showed us, something invisible things, and we are moving around, and Brad came to me, asked me, "Are you a member of the club?" I said, "No, you should become a member of the club." That was the first time I met him, and soon I became a member of the club, and also soon we became quite close. And I'm quite happy and pleased that he is moderating today. That is my book event.
The honor is mine, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So probably you will be enthusiastic about knowing why I have written this book. And Brad has mentioned that I had some health issues which prompted me to write the book. Yes, that's definitely one of the reasons. But another reason is, which is a very important reason, that we are now passing through an age where memories are very important. And we fight against forgetfulness with memories. And some people now talking about this, what is happening in Bangladesh, things like that, as if nothing happened back there in 1971. But we are the witness. We have seen what happened. We have experienced all those atrocities and others. And it's our responsibility to write down, to pass those to next generation, so that our fight against forgetfulness can be a firm one. That is one of the reasons which prompted me to write this 2-volume of books, because this forgetting the past is not just a new thing in Bangladesh. It started quite a long back. That why did we fight the war, and why did we demanded independence? This question is coming over and over again. So I felt responsibility that those who have witnessed this, we should do something to leave for the posterity, that what we have witnessed. This is the most valuable part. Memory is the most valuable part of human being. And that is what prompted me to write the book. And few thing about the book is, first thing is, you'll find it's quite odd, this size. Why this long size of book? Because it's a memoir, and usual publication is like the normal publication of books, but it's not. My idea was initially was that is the general size of the book, but I also wanted the book to be accompanied by illustrations. That at least each chapter should carry some illustrations. And I'm quite fortunate that publisher is a very good friend of mine. He agreed, and he even risked that publishing a very lavish edition with spending quite a lot of money. And he agreed, okay, I'll do that. And first, this is a two-volume. There, you see, there are some of the artworks. Those are original works of the painters. So two of the different painters. First volume is by Vishwajit Goswami, who is quite well-known, young painter of Bangladesh. And second was Saurabh Chaudhary. He's also a rising star. So they have done the illustrations. And after the first volume, everything was done. This illustrator, Vishwajit, he told me that we should go for a larger size. I asked him why. He said that paintings will come out well. If it is a smaller size, those will not reflect in reality what we had done. So I agreed, and publisher also agreed, and that's why it's the, since first volume is in that size, second volume we continue also same. So those of you who has probably had the opportunity of browsing through the first volume, you know that the first volume is sort of introduction of our war of liberation, that how we came to that point. It ended on, it started with my first memories as a child. And then what is happening around and how things evolved in social and political life of Bangladesh. And it ended on 24th March of 1971, because our war started on March 25, or midnight of March 25. But before the war started, I finished the first volume, and I've written at the conclusion that many things had been written after that. So of the war itself and what happened during that period. So I didn't go for that. But soon after this publication of the first volume, my friends and acquaintances, many people asked me, why not the most important part? Because our Bangladesh War of Independence, most important part, starting from March 25th, about midnight, March 25th, 26th, and culminating on 16 December, when we became our victorious liberators. They compelled the Pakistani army to surrender, and independence was achieved. So that is, and then I gave a second thought. Maybe this is the time that I should write about that. And that is the result of this second volume. Second volume focuses, as I have mentioned, that started with March 26th, midnight of March 25th, when Pakistan army attacked this unarmed civilian of East Pakistan, then East Pakistan, and killing and their atrocities, burning of the cities. And I've mentioned in the first volume what I've seen on that night. And fortunately for me, and maybe for you also, that one of my cousins, who is here, I mentioned about him also. So he also witnessed those things, and also he joined the freedom fighting. He was joined the regular army also. So we had a shared memories of together. So he's also here together. So from March 26th, eventually what happened that we were at a loss initially that what we should do, because Pakistan army is a well-trained army of a very strong group, and their presence in Pakistan were uh, almost 100,000, more than 100,000, and well armed. So how do we fight against them? Only way is to get help from outside, and it was India which helped us. Many people now say that you got help from India and it's the Indian interest was there. In international politics, interest of the country is always there. Whoever helps who, their own interest is always behind. India also obviously was willing to see Pakistan becoming weaker, and that would lessen the burden on border forces in East Pakistan and West Pakistan. So of course India helped, and one way of getting uh, trained and also supply of arms is to resort to India, crossing the border and going to India and getting trained. And it was not that easy work because, firstly, how do we cross the border? And whether we cross the border and then India is willing to accept us, might not be the same. We might be on the way, it might be killed. On the way, there might be many other incidents, things like that. So we tried a number of times. He is also there. That number of times we tried to cross the border going to India, but it didn't work out. Eventually, I contacted through my elder brother and others a group of uh, political activists who were um, sending people to India, young people, for training purpose and also for joining guerrilla forces. And there I was successful, but he was successful before me. He crossed the border before me. But I also, it was in July that I mentioned, everything is mentioned over there, that we, seven of us we were to cross the border and join the group fighting for liberation. But how to cross the border? Because July was already Pakistan army was taking control of everything. And young people were the most vulnerable. Pakistan army knew that it's the younger generation who started fighting. So wherever they met young people, they would kill them, take them to prison, arrest them, or torture them, whatever it is. So it was very dangerous. So we were told that we we should leave Dhaka separately, not in a group. 7 of us separately, and we were given a point where to meet, and from there to cross the border and going to India. And before that, we didn't know who. Also, we didn't know who were in the group 7. Only our group leader knew who were all those people. We didn't know. We were just told that we should meet at a certain point, and then from there we'll move together. And then accordingly, I was lucky, and most of us were lucky that we were not stopped at any point by Pakistan military forces or others. But as a safety net, we are given an identity card, working at different private office, things like that. I was a clerk of a advertising company. And that identity card I was carrying, if the Pakistan army stopped, I was ready to show them. And also I was given some training that as a clerk of a advertising company, advertising agency, what was my duty, responsibilities, so that I can answer that. But fortunately, I was not stopped at any point. And I reached the point where others also, they also gathered. And then we came to know each other. And it seems that we all knew each other beforehand. But that was the point that we didn't know that those people were there. And also, our leader was given instruction that we should not stay at the point more than 30 minutes after the designated time. Because the risk was that if one person were caught, if he was tortured, he would probably explain that where the others are gathering. So 30 minutes is the time limit. We should rush within that. 7 of us were supposed to be there, but 6 of us gathered, 1 missing. Nothing doing. We left and crossed the border. Then next day, after crossing the border, and all have been explained in those books that joining the liberation war also not an easy task. That is, after crossing the border, at one point we were arrested by Indian Border Security Force. That curfew was imposed at the border areas. We didn't know, so we were taken to this border security force prison. This is it's not the prison. It's the makeshift prison of border security force, and we didn't know what's waiting for us. We were just locked up, and among 6 of us, youngest was 16-year-old, and I was 19 at that time, 18, 19, yeah, around that time. Youngest was 16-year-old. He started at one time crying, asking for water. So our leader, he threw this bamboo barrier of the room, and asked the guard that the boy wants water. And the guard replied, "Tell him to urinate and use that as water." And hearing that, he again started crying. But those are things happened, and much worse happened to other groups. We are lucky that eventually we were able to get out of that, and then went to the training camp. And after a long period of waiting and things like that, I was about to be sent to the Assam, Assam forest area of Tejpur, where our group were trained. But my departure was delayed because I was asked to work as a camp guard also at one stage because there was a shortage of forces. So at the very end, with a very small training, I crossed the border, and we were given the task of entering Dhaka as a freedom fighter, but not until the green signal comes. And also, our trainers strictly forbade us to get involved in front fighting. He said that, you see, you have 3-4 weeks of training. And Pakistan Army, there are 25, 30 years of trained people. You'll stand nowhere. Nowhere you stand. So don't venture. Don't try to show that you are brave and front fighting you will be doing. No. So your task is to disturb the enemy from the backward, and also fight against the auxiliary force, local forces supporting the enemy, but not the enemy itself. It's too dangerous, and we have given you short training, not to be killed. So you have to keep yourself alive. So our task was to enter Dhaka, because when we crossed the border, it was already towards the end of November, and border clashes were very intense between Pakistan Army and Indian Army, and war was imminent. Everyone was sensing that any time war might start, and we, carrying small arms, we by foot, we from Indian state of Agartala, we moved outskirt of Dhaka. It took 10, 12 days for us. And we are not the regular forces, so we didn't have any supply of food or anything else. But wherever we went, local people entertained us, local people welcomed us, and we didn't have any shortage of food or anything. And this is a fascinating part of probably any independent movement fighting where people supports the group were defending them. And they're willing to give everything to us. I remember I mentioned one episode that they didn't have anything of their own, surplus food or others, but they would entertain us. They would entertain us when we would refuse to eat. This housewife would start crying that you are insulting us, brothers. Don't insult. So this is the support we received. And by receiving this support, it raised our morality. We knew that eventual victory will be ours because no forces which has that massive support of local people can lose a battle, war. And eventually we reached the destination point outskirts of Dhaka, and it's the small groups of guerrilla fighters, different small groups, they were surrounding Dhaka. And because the war strategist, they were thinking that final battle will be Battle of Dhaka. That is the city, capital of Pakistan at that time. And in any city battle, it's the military maneuver is very limited. Military cannot move with tanks, armored vehicles very easily because of city structure and others, unless demolishing everything. So in that situation, these fighters who know the city very well, they seem to be very, very, very valuable asset. And we were those that, because all of those groups, we came from Dhaka. We knew every street corner of Dhaka very well. But thing is that we were waiting for the final call to move inside Dhaka. Final call never came. 16 December, Bangladesh was liberated. Pakistan surrendered. And we were still waiting. 16 December, when everyone knew that Pakistan is going to surrender, we asked our leader that we should move towards Dhaka. He said still didn't come, that our instruction didn't come. We said, never mind, let's move. He was a little bit reluctant. Then he told local people that we'll be moving. But local people told us, where we will go? There's no need for you to go there because already Pakistan is surrendering, and moreover, we have slaughtered cow for you because you'll have a good feast. So don't move immediately. So maybe tomorrow morning, early morning. So that's the reason I entered Dhaka on 17 December, couldn't enter on 16. And that's why the book ends on that day, that it's instead of 16 December, it ended on 17 December. So these are the details all described in my book. And this is from my memory. My memory, because it's the asset I would like to leave for the next generation, that what we have seen, and memories cannot be denied. Those who hadn't seen what happened, they can discard that this didn't happen like that. But we are documenting our memory. That's the important part of this book. And my hope is that many people of my generation, those who have witnessed if they keep this record for the posterity, then it will be very difficult for others to just discard that reality, what happened. And now it is more important because some people are saying that we have, we just, this erase button has been pushed, so everything has been of the past disappeared. Past never disappears. Past remains, and history also remains. And my humble task was to recount that history from my own memory. And this is about the book. So I'll not describe further. Those who are interested, you can go through it. And probably you find it interesting how our generation lived at the time. So maybe I'll focus more on how, on depending on what you would like to know about. Thank you very much. Thank you all, and thank you, Brad.
Excellent introduction. I'm sure some of you have questions. If you would stand and go to the microphone. There's two microphones, right? Stand and identify yourself before you ask a question. So who would like to ask a question? Are you holding your hand up?
No, I have not, because I already know many things.
All right. All right.
Also, if you have any comment, please go through.
Well, I'll ask you one. I noticed that you described basically escaping from Bangladesh to India was a very, very hairy exercise, and you used the term like the pages of a thriller. As a thriller writer myself, I have to agree with you. That was pretty thrilling stuff. And you have to read the book in order to understand just how thrilling it was. But tell us, you didn't mention the horrible politician who almost ruined you. Tell them that story, Monzurul.
Okay. So after crossing the border, we are very happy that we came to Indian soil, and now we'll get trained, we'll fight, and we'll join the liberation war. And then after crossing the border, we wanted to go to Indian town of this Agartala, this Tripura state's main town. And there, our contact point was there. Those who we contacted beforehand, so that they can send us to training camps. And we wanted to go as soon as possible, because after crossing border, it's very enthusiastic that we don't want to delay our joining this training and liberation group. So we negotiated a taxi but that's the afterward. First we moved inside, and then when we wanted to go to a taxi stand, some people stopped us and told us that you cannot move further. You have to get a permission letter or permission chit from the local MP who had a camp over there, local member of parliament who had a camp over there. He would sign, and with that paper you can move forward. Otherwise, you cannot go. So we asked him, where is his office? They showed us a tin shade, bungalow type house. There he was sitting, and inside we went, and in a big desk he was sitting and looked at us. What do you want? We said, we want your permission. you came and you think that you come and I give you permission? And looking at us, he said, you look like leftist people. I don't give permission to leftists. I send them to firing squad. And just 2 days back, I sent some of those. And looking at you, it seems that you are the same people. You know what was the psychological situation of us hearing that. And our team leader, he was 3 years senior to me, just 3, 4 years, not that too too experienced, things like. But he begged. He said that we are genuine lover of this country. So we came here to join the freedom fighting. So we just ask you for the permission because we had a contact point over there. So he thought about a little while, then he signed the paper. Okay, go. I'm releasing you, as if he had given us lease of life. But he knew that we'll be in trouble because soon after, curfew will be starting. And when we go out of that camp, probably Indian border force will arrest us. So that's why it was strict. So with that paper, we went to this taxi stand, and many people were saying that already there are curfew. But one taxi driver, he said, no, I can take you, but you have to pay more. So we negotiated how much. It was those who had been to India, who had traveled in those old-time India in ambassador car. You know how it is, old ambassador car. It is probably, originally it's 5-seated, including driver and things like that. But in those areas, one ambassador car would just push 10, 12 people inside. And we were also, that's 6 of us, and there were also some smugglers and other people, so all packed together. And we started. We could hardly go half an hour. Then BSF stopped us and took us to this prison camp. Because this was curfew, we were in the curfew in the middle. And that where this experience of the boy who wanted to have water was in that camp. But we are lucky that at that time, a Bangladesh Liberation Army captain was passing that area. So he probably stopped in that camp, and the camp commander, Indian commander, probably told him that some young people we have arrested today. And he wanted to talk to us. And our leader was taken to him. And he talked and he was convinced, and he told the Indian commander that these are genuine people, so you should release them. So, and then he came to us, he said that I'm going to the border area now. Early morning, I'll be returning with my pickup. If it is not me, then one of my colleague will be there. So he didn't turn up, his colleague turned up and took us to this pickup. And when we started, this pickup started, taxi driver was running, my money, where is my money? Then the border security forces threatened him that forget about your money. So these are different episodes, that are tragic, sometimes funny, sometimes enjoyable. So all are detailed on those. That during the war also, life moves like that. Not always gloomy, not always hopeful. That is, ups and downs are there. So I try to describe those as well.
It's a great yarn. Yes, Anthony.
Is this working? Is this on?
Yes, yes.
Anthony Rowley. Monzo, nice to see you at the club, and I hope your
Thank
health
you.
continues to improve. What is the message that you want us to take away from your book? Is it, be courageous in the face of oppression, act early to prevent that oppression from growing? There are so many conflicts in the world now. Unfortunately, and people do forget, and they will continue to forget. So, what are you essentially wanting us to learn from the book? What have your experiences have relevance to the many conflicts now, particularly in the Middle East?
Yeah.
So in short, what is the message you want to take away tonight?
The first message I will probably already mention. That first message is history shouldn't be forgotten, and we can learn from history. And one of the way of learning from history is to learn from those who had experienced the historical development of a certain period. So I am a witness of that period. And so this message for my readers and for whoever reads the book is importance of remembering history or historical aspect. This is, and of course this has some relevance with what's happening around the world. World is going through ups and downs, and world is also having seen war, destruction, then new countries emerging, others, and main message is not to lose hope. Not to lose hope. That is, losing hope is giving up earlier. So keep the hope alive. Keep the hope alive and know from those people who had experienced those things and how they could overcome. And we know this at a very difficult time we are going through. So keeping hope is very important during this period. Thank you, Anthony. Thankfully. Can thank you.
Can I speak for me?
Yeah, choose your microphone.
Okay.
You get a choice.
Oh, sure. Thanks. Anthony, you want to start? I'm sorry. Thank you. My name is Vivek Pinto. Nice to see you, Monzurul.
Nice to see you,
I
Vivek.
wish you were in better health.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have known each other for about 30 years. I have a two-part question, Monzurul.
Yes.
When you look at Bangladesh today, is it a time to despair? Or is it to despair?
Yeah.
The second part of your
Yes,
wonderful
yes.
title.
Yeah,
Or is it a time to kindle hope again? That's the first
Yes,
question.
Yes.
The second question is coming from a student of Gandhi. Is there a non-violent approach to what happened in Bangladesh? It was a time of violence, and can violence be answered only by violence or by other methods? It may be philosophical, but thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Vivek. Thank you. My title is A Time to Dream and a Time of Despair. It's nothing to do with current situation. It's at that time. Because from this early part of our struggle, it was a time to dream. Because we didn't expect such sudden attack from Pakistan military forces. So we are dreaming that some negotiated settlement will be reached, and we will achieve independence through that. But time of despair is what next happened, that everything was shattered, and we thought for a moment that probably we will never achieve that. But we overcame that. That's the message of this title. Nothing to do with current situation. The current situation is obviously a time of despair, I think, because of us, for those who fought liberation war. And mostly our message was very secular Bangladesh, secular, non-religious, harmonious Bangladesh. We didn't achieve that. And unfortunately, we are going backward because of the Islamic fundamentalism again rising. And I'm not sure where we end up with that. So I feel that now probably is a slight touch of that time of despair, because but still, I'm not hopeless at all. Hope I'm keeping. I mentioned earlier also that keeping hope is very important. And that hope I'm keeping because our generation is still there. And we are trying hard to carry the message of that. And the second part is non-violent approach, whether it's of our liberation war. From our position, it was non-violent from the beginning to the end, because Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, when he was struggling, he never resorted to violence initially. He was willing to negotiate. Even he sat at negotiation table with Yahya Khan. So he hoped that something might be reached with that. But Pakistan army, at the back doors, they were preparing for a violent response, and which we witnessed from March 26 onward, that 3 million people were slaughtered in 9 months period, and villages burned down, cities and towns were demolished. And that was from our part, we hoped for a non-violent solution, but the other side was not willing for that. So that is probably what I see when I look at that situation. Is it clear to you?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Christoph Neid. Is it on? Yeah. Christoph Neidhardt, nice to see you, Monzurul. And
Nice to
good
see you,
health.
Christoph.
I have two questions. The first one is, you say on December 16th the Pakistan army surrendered. But until December 16, Bangladesh was East Pakistan. So I assume there were soldiers that were in the Pakistani army. There were actually people from Bangladesh. So how did that go on after the surrender? I assume you lived with people who were in that army until that day. And my second question is, the Soviet Union belonged to those nations that helped the liberation war. And you went to Moscow for many years later. Is that somehow connected, that the Soviet Union, as a helper of, as a midwife of Bangladesh, helped you get to study in Moscow?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Christoph. Thank you. Nice to see you again. Yeah. So your first question is, that is whether 16 December Pakistan army surrendered, and what happened before that. Pakistan army surrendered to Indian forces, but joint forces, Indian and Bangladesh, and surrendered this 93,000 Pakistan soldiers, army personnel. They were ordered to surrender, but surrender didn't happen immediately. In some areas, Pakistan army were still continuing fighting. But official surrender was in 16 December. And in reality, probably throughout the December, there are also clashes, skirmishes going on throughout. But this official announcement of Pakistan was surrendering on 16 December. So that is the official, that is we consider now as official surrender point of Pakistan army. But as I mentioned, that in some areas, Pakistan army couldn't contact its local forces, and they were continuing fighting. And in some cases, they were hiding and trying to resist later on. But is it clear that why 16 December?
No, my question is, what happened to those people who were in this Pakistani army but became Bangladesh citizens by the liberation?
Okay. So they automatically didn't become Bangladesh citizen because army surrendered 93,000 Pakistan army. They were taken prisoner of war by India. So they were not part of Pakistan, part of Bangladesh. But those who were non-Bengali speaking migrants from Pakistan who settled in East Pakistan, many of them were against our liberation war. Most of them were against. But after Sheikh Mujibur Rahman returned on 10th of January, he gave an option to those people that you can become citizen of Bangladesh, or if you opt out for Pakistan, you remain in refugee camp until Pakistan takes you back. More than 90% opted for Pakistan. And they remained in refugee camp year after year because Pakistan forgotten them, didn't want to take back. So this is what happened to them. Is it now okay? Yeah, okay. And your second part is what role Soviet Union played. Soviet Union didn't play any direct role in our war of liberation. Soviet Union signed a security treaty with India in August 1971. It is 25 years of security treaty that any country mutually being attacked will be helped. So this boosts the morale of Indian army and also our liberation forces. Otherwise, there is no direct support from Soviet Union we didn't receive. But this is the strong moral support, and which prompted many of us to opt for higher studies in Soviet Union after liberation. This is one reason why, not only sole reason, because none of the Western countries immediately recognized Bangladesh. It took time. And also after recognition, they wouldn't offer any scholarship. But Soviet Union offered scholarship at a time when our country was on the ruin and our education system was also shattered, everything. So many of us opted for that scholarship. And we went to Soviet Union, studied over there. And that's the reason why we ended up in Soviet Union. And that didn't mean that we have given up ourselves to Soviet Union. So, yes, and met my wife over there.
Yes.
No, I'm Tariq Sheikh. I teach at the Tokyo University of Foreign Studies. I teach Bengal Studies, where Mr. Huq used to teach earlier. So my question, I'm just started working on a research project about the role of music and poetry in protests and times of political upheaval. And I'm just curious to know if when you and your friends and comrades were, fighting during the liberation war and also traveling to India and having harrowing experiences and all that. Were you also sometimes maybe singing something to keep your spirits up? If yes, then what kinds of songs? And I would like to know if there are like existing songs, Tagore songs, Nazrul songs, or some new ones, or and also what you think is the role of some, because we have a tradition of rebellious songs and poetry in Bengal on both sides of Bengal. That's some question.
Thank you, Tarek. That of course I didn't sing well, so very bad singer, but in my mind I sing. That inner singer is there. We had a very big role of this singing, particularly those revolutionary songs, because it was a time of revolution fighting. And I remember one night that is a group of fighters came to our camp, and those group of fighters were to cross the border next day to enter Bangladesh and start guerrilla fighting. And throughout the night, they didn't sleep. They were singing all along. All those singing revolutionary songs and others, and also Tagore songs were also there. And early morning, they left. And 2 days after, we heard that they were ambushed by Pakistan army, and most of them were killed. So this is song, that role of singing. And have you heard the film Muktir Gan? Which is a film made by one of our well-known filmmaker who passed away a few years back, that during the Liberation War, group of Bangladeshi singers, musicians, they gathered together, and they have compiled these songs and others to inspire the freedom fighters. They went to the camps singing there and acting, dancing. So this part of this cultural aspect had a very important role in boosting our morale. And I think Bangladesh is not only exception. Wherever there is a liberation war going on, I think this part plays a very important role. Thank you.
I saw her hand first. Go. You're next, Drini.
Thank you. Good evening to all. I am Paromita Bhattacharya from Bangladesh. I'm a student. So, sir, I would like to ask two questions to you. First of all, you mentioned about the genocide of 25th March 1971, and most of us do know about the genocide on 25th March in 1971. So the thing is, as a law student, I have heard and read that the genocide of Bangladesh and then East Pakistan is not still internationally recognized by the international community. So, sir, do you think this international recognition is very much important for us? And if yes, so what might be the hindrances to achieve this international recognition of 25th March's genocide of Bangladesh? And the second question, it is kind of personal question. Like I belong to freedom fighters family. My grandfather was a freedom fighter. So though I haven't seen Liberation War, but I have heard about Liberation War a lot from my family. So the thing is quite saddening that our generation, people from our generation, a lot of people from our generation do think that they shouldn't learn, or there is no need to learn about Liberation War. And sometimes they just want to forget the history of 1971. So my second question, or second thing that I just want to know from you, that if you have some message for our generation in this regard. Thank you so much. Okay. That's all from me. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Paramita. Thank you. So first question is genocide, why it is not recognized internationally. I think ice is slowly is being broken. First, it was outright rejection that genocide didn't happen. But we have tried, many people in Bangladesh tried hard to convince international community that why it is genocide, because it's an attack on unarmed civilians and random attack. Just think about that. In 9 months period, 3 million people were slaughtered. If it is not genocide, what it is? The 3 million innocent people were killed within a span of 9-month period. It hardly you get any comparison in the world. And those who are denied, and there are also strong international backlash against Bangladesh at that time, and Pakistan mobilized Islamic countries, particularly, that Bangladesh has done a crime by breaking up the largest Islamic state in the world. At that time, it was Pakistan, population-wise. So many Islamic countries didn't see the atrocities in Bangladesh as something which is a crime itself. So that is also gradually, with the passage of time, being eroded from the memories of those who are opposing. So these days we see that Bangladesh genocide part is being gradually recognized by many communities in the world. Whether it's recognized by United Nations or not is a different thing, because United Nations, they're always lobbying and things like that going on. But I'm hopeful that with the passage of time, everything will be okay. So what message for you, younger generation? Know the history. Don't try to ignore what your parents and grandparents had gone through. And this experience can teach you many things. And this experience can also help you to find against forgetfulness. That our generation is fighting, as I mentioned, that with our memory we are fighting against forgetfulness. So that message we want to carry to you and next generation also. Thank you.
Drini, nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've got two questions, a little bit related to the former question. One is that the youth in Bangladesh seem to be very active, like your freedom fighters, and even recently students in Dhaka University rose up against the government, and now they're also demanding elections. Do you see a difference between your time and the new student uprisings? And also, just on a technical question, when you write a memoir, you're supposed to kind of really think about the facts. And so I guess you planned the memoir for a long time, and were you writing your thoughts or what exactly you went through as a freedom fighter? How did you collect all the information?
Okay, your first question is whether I find any comparison with the present, that what some people say, uprising against the government or things like that. I don't think there is any comparison with that, because present one is, it's sort of color revolution type, which in international involvement and things like that. There had been misrule and others, but it didn't mean that we should forget about all the democratic systems and anything else and bring a government into the in line and form a non-elected body to run the country. No. Democracy is very important for every country. So forgetting about democratic system, you cannot restore democracy. First, you have to prove yourself that you are a Democrat. And what is happening in Bangladesh is just running opposite. So I hope the new government, interim government, understands that and doesn't delay further calling for election, which might solve many of the questions which remains unanswered until now. So for the second part of your question, memoir, what is most important? For example, I have 2 volumes. First volume, I mentioned earlier, that first volume I have described it as a semi-fictional memoir, because memories erase with the passage of time. So first volume is my from very childhood to until 1971. So childhood memories, they disappeared, erased, difficult to remember what happened. So in that case, I have resorted to my ideas, just thinking about. So semi-fictional, that is the fictional part of what might have happened at that time. But not to deviate too much, keeping track with the line of memories. So in memoir, it's very important that you write your memoir according to yourself, how you have seen. But that perception shouldn't be much deviated from the reality of life, what happened in reality, in the field. So that is also very important when you write the memoir, and when you write the memoir about important aspect of your country, not only your life, important aspect of your country, and carrying the message to your readership. Is it okay? Thank you, Drini.
Well, I have, yes, go right ahead. You're next.
Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. My name's Joan Anderson. I just have a question what your fellow female students were doing at this time, because I gather it was the male students or young men who were mostly involved in the fight as such.
Okay, thank you, John. Nice to see you. Yes, female also. They some of them participated in liberation war, but not very much. A handful of female, but others, some were helping this guerrilla camps, organizing and auxiliary work and others, and some were being trained. There are a group of female freedom fighters, we call. They were trained in India as a supporting force of liberation war. And also there are a large group involved in, as Tariq mentioned, that is singing and dancing and cultural side of this, our struggle. So they were also part of this liberation war. So they were not all sitting idle. Everyone was involved in his or her own way.
I'll ask one more. Yeah. Can we get back to religion once more?
Yes.
I read the book, and my impression is that people in East Pakistan were not nearly as worked up over Islamism as people in West Pakistan. But now you're telling me that a problem in East Pakistan is Islamic fundamentalism. Okay, I'm an editor of Asia Times, and I don't receive any stories about this, so I'm really, really curious. What was different then that made the West Pakistan people more fundamentalist, and what has changed to make the Bangladesh people, former East Pakistan people, more fundamentalist now?
Okay, yes. Pakistan, probably you know, Pakistan declared the country as Islamic Republic. Islamic Republic back in early 1950s. And still it's Islamic Republic. And we are part of that, but we are never asked whether we subscribe to Islamic Republic or not. And in East Pakistan, in Pakistan movement, East Pakistan people also joined. They also, particularly Muslims in East Pakistan, majority supported. For example, my father's generation were mostly supportive of Pakistan movement. That is, they wanted to see Pakistan, but there also another undercurrent, which was to keep Bengal as a separate state, not joining India, not joining Pakistan. And some leaders of Muslim League from East Pakistan, they are quite active with that movement. But that also didn't work out well because in India also there are division about this issue, whether there should be United Bengal or not. And this trend of that keeping religion out of politics had been had a strong footing in East Pakistan from early days. And that is the reason why Islamic fundamentalism didn't take root immediately. But later on, it started. I have my own observation that why later that Islamic fundamentalism started penetrating. I find the root in 1973, when this oil crisis make Islamic countries quite economically powerful. Then they started distributing this money to other Islamic countries to spread fundamentalism and things like that. And it is, until now, it's continuing, that it continues, things like that. Before 1973, it was not that. It was not that. This is my observation, my personal observation. I've hardly seen anything in international literature focusing on that. Probably it's time that you might dig into that, whether up to what extent this has the influence over there. I remember that when we went to Soviet Union, no Islamic countries' students supported us. Algeria at that time were considered to be a revolutionary country, but Algerian students refused to talk to us. They said, "You have broken Pakistan. You are anti-Islam." But we didn't think from that line. But later, in Bangladesh also, it started spreading because of this, as I mentioned, 1973, and later on, American involvement. Who created Taliban? Who created Al-Qaeda? It's not the Afghan people. It's not the Pakistan people. It's the Americans. Americans to fight against Soviet Union. So that's also one aspect. That is why this fundamentalism is gaining fruits and things like that. Even today also, that international politics plays with fundamentalism when it's favorable for them.
Okay, we've got two more. I think we'll fit you both in. Khaldun, you go first, since Christoph has already had a question. All right.
Thank you very much. Good to see you, Monzur. Please come
Thank you.
over.
Thank you, Khaldun.
Khaldun Nazari, Panorama News. My question, I want to move a little bit toward Myanmar. I was there. I was
Turn
in.
on the microphone, Khaldun.
It's on. No? It's on. Hello? Yes? Okay. I visit Myanmar and I visit the Rakhine state where the clashes happened. And I noticed the people there are originally from Bengal. Bengalis mostly. And they were Bengalis during the Indian occupation. And then they became Bengalis during the East Pakistan country. And then they are still Bengalis when Bangladesh is established. And a lot of them went to Myanmar. And now there are a lot of them. So how do you think Bangladesh look at these people now? You have about 800,000 people, refugees, and how do you think this problem can be solved on basis of ethnic? It's a very big question, but thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Khaldun. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to correct you that those people are not Bengalis. If you look at Burma, what do you see? The map of Burma, looking at that Arakan mountain is dividing Burma. On the eastern side of Arakan mountain is the Burmese, land of Burmese, that Buddhist Burmese. And eastern part is the mostly, historically, it was Arakan Empire. Arakan Empire was Buddhist majority, but with strong Muslim presence because of the trading with Arab traders and others. And in this Arakan region, Burmese presence was not that dominant. But and you mentioned that during Indian occupation, Burma was never occupied by India. It was during British occupation. British ruled Burma together with India. And it is the British who divided, that is, who made Arakan part of Burma. That is total Burmese. And people who lived in Arakan area, they had strong connection with Bengal. Why? Because the Chittagong was the main port. Arakan's access to outside world was through Chittagong. And there are many from Chittagong over there in Arakan region, but mainly its Rohingyas are not Bengalis. Their language might be quite somehow similar to Bengalis of Chittagong region, but not completely. So they are different people. They are the Rohingya people, and in broader sense, they are the Arakani. Arakani Muslims, Arakani Buddhists, Arakani Christians are there. And solving the problem is whether you recognize Burma or you outrightly reject Burma. Outrightly rejecting Burma will be problematic because Burma has its neighboring supporting force and others as well. So best solution will be to create pressure on Myanmar regime that for their own interest, it's better to solve the problem without much delay. More the delays, more it will go out of their hand. As it is now, their signs are over there. So that is how I see the problem could be solved. Thank you, Colton.
Can we let Christophe ask one more question? Yes, one more question. This will be our last question.
This is a follow-up to your last two answers. The main culprit for the war in 1971 is not the Pakistani army, it's the British. The British invented current India, and the British invented Pakistan, and they made East Pakistan. You mentioned the Bengal state. Did you at that time, or do you have now, a grudge on the British? And I have heard Indian people saying India or Bangladesh, they should ask for reparation from Britain. Does one feel like, yeah, do you see Britain as guilty for that, for the whole situation?
Of course, what is happening in Indian subcontinent, what is the fault of Indian subcontinent, many is to be blamed for the British, what they did. That is, this is also that partition of India, division of India. It's the British, they have, without thinking, without taking into consideration what will the impact in the long term. They just divide it. They just divide it according to their own wish. And that is what happened in reality over there. And I don't think we now blame Britain for reparation and others. We are forgetful people. We are not forgetful. We don't continue blaming. We just want to forget that what happened, what they did. And Pakistan army, well, yes, British is the responsible, but who were behind the genocide in 1971? It's the Pakistan army. It's not the British that came and killed. Our people had seen through their own eyes that Pakistan army was the main culprit. So that's how I see it. Thank you, Christoph.
And thank you, Monzurul. Let's all give a round of applause to our wonderful speaker tonight. Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. And since we can't give you a membership,
Yes.
Monzurul, we have a bottle of sake for you, which I'd like to,
Thank you.
which you can do with whatever you want to.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for